Sometimes in life, you encounter a leader who doesn't just speak about change, but actually brings it into being. And when I look at what's unfolding in Burkina Faso under Ibrahim Traoré's leadership, I simply can't stay quiet. Honestly, the world really needs to take notice of this man, because what he's doing right now is nothing less than revolutionary. Not only for Burkina Faso, not only for Africa, but for humanity as a whole. When I see his vision, his courage, his sheer determination to lift up his people, it inspires me. This is the kind of leadership that alters the course of history. He's standing firm against forces that have exploited Africa for centuries. Forces that have taken natural resources and left nations in poverty. And instead of giving up, instead of yielding to pressure, Traoré is building something powerful, an Africa that belongs to Africans. An Africa that innovates, that creates. One thing that truly amazed me about Ibrahim Traoré is his bold, forward-thinking policy on electric vehicles. You have to understand why this means so much to me. When I began Tesla, people didn't just doubt, they laughed. They mocked the whole idea. I can still hear their words. Elon, electric cars will never work. They're a fantasy, a niche product for environmentalists. The future belongs to gasoline, not batteries. That was the narrative. Every so-called expert in the auto industry dismissed the vision as unrealistic, impossible, even insane. They said it was impossible to compete with traditional automakers, those giants with decades of dominance and billions in resources. They told me it was impossible to scale production meaningfully, impossible to bring costs down, impossible to make electric cars mainstream. They said even if you build them, no one will buy them. That was the world Tesla entered. But look where we are today. Tesla didn't just survive, it changed everything. It didn't just create cars, it transformed an entire industry. Today, every major automaker on Earth is racing to electrify their fleets. Cities are building charging networks. Governments are passing policies to phase out fossil fuels. And millions are driving electric cars because they believe in a sustainable future. That shift didn't happen because it was easy. It happened because a few people were willing to take risks, push boundaries, and ignore the noise of the doubters. Now when I see Ibrahim Traoré in Burkina Faso taking similar steps that most people in his position wouldn't even dare imagine, I am honestly blown away. Because here's the reality. Burkina Faso isn't a country with the resources of Germany or the infrastructure of the United States. It's a nation that has faced economic pressure, political instability, and decades of exploitation. And yet, instead of focusing only on short-term fixes, Traoré is saying, we're going to leap into the future. We're not going to wait for the world to hand us technology. We're going to build it ourselves. That is vision. That is courage. That is leadership in its purest form. Most leaders, even in wealthy nations, hesitate to commit to this level of innovation. But here is Traoré, a young leader in West Africa, declaring, we will not be left behind in the green revolution. We will not keep importing second-hand cars and fueling pollution while the rest of the world moves forward. We will create our own future, and it will be electric. That's why this policy isn't just about cars. It's about breaking chains. It's about telling his people, we are capable of building world-class solutions. We are not just consumers. We are creators. And for me, someone who has lived through the journey of turning skepticism into success, seeing a leader in Africa embrace this same mindset is powerful. Because if he succeeds, and I believe he will, this will inspire a whole continent to rise, innovate, and lead in ways the world never expected. Now when I look at Ibrahim Traoré, I see that same courage, that same fearless commitment to the future. This is a man who understands the bigger picture. He knows that if Africa wants to lead, if Burkina Faso wants to break free from dependency and exploitation, it has to leap forward, not backward. And what he's doing with electric vehicles is proof of that vision. He's not just talking about clean energy as a slogan. He's creating policies that actually make it possible for a country the world often underestimates to become a pioneer in green technology. Do you know how rare that is? Leaders everywhere talk about change, but very few are willing to take the bold steps needed to make it happen. And here is Traoré, in a region exploited for its resources for generations, saying, we're going to build a future where our children breathe clean air, where we're not just buyers of technology, we are creators of technology. That's not just leadership. That's game-changing. I'll tell you something. The entire world should take notes from what's happening in Burkina Faso right now. Because if a country with limited resources can prioritize sustainability, if it can push for innovation instead of dependence, what excuse does anyone else have? What Traore is doing isn't just bold, it's historic. And I have no doubt in my mind that if these policies are implemented the way he envisions, we're going to see an Africa that doesn't just follow trends, it sets them. And it doesn't stop there. There's this local electric car brand in Burkina Faso called Ibrahim. When I first heard about it, I thought, wow, this is exactly what needs to happen. Africa creating its own solutions, its own technology, its own cars. And honestly, it reminds me of Tesla in its early days. The ambition, the creativity, the passion to disrupt the system. Traore's government didn't just approve it, they supported it. They're making it easier for local innovation to thrive. That's leadership. That's vision. I want to say this as clearly as possible. I fully support Ibrahim Traoré. And this isn't just empty talk. It's not a tweet for the headlines. This is a commitment. Because when I see a leader with this level of vision, courage, and determination, I know this is someone worth standing with. I'm not just offering words of encouragement. I am offering partnership. I am ready, personally and through my companies, to work hand in hand with Traoré and the people of Burkina Faso to turn this dream into reality. We're talking about collaboration on a scale Africa has never seen before. Mining. Absolutely. Africa has some of the most valuable resources on Earth. Lithium, cobalt, and other minerals that are the backbone of the clean energy revolution. For too long, those resources have been taken by foreign powers, leaving African nations in poverty. That stops now. Imagine a system where Africa doesn't just export raw materials, but processes them, manufactures with them, and builds an entire value chain that benefits Africans first. That's the future I want to create with Traoré. Electric cars? Of course. Tesla changed the automotive industry. But why should Tesla be the only name in the space? I'm excited about Burkina Faso's own electric car brand, Ibrahim, and I'm ready to share expertise, to share knowledge, and even to partner on technology, ensuring that when the conversation turns to electric vehicles, they talk about Tesla and they talk about Africa. Let's build gigafactories on African soil. Let's create thousands of jobs. Let's turn Africa into a hub for EV innovation, not just for Africans, but for the entire world. Renewable energy. This is non-negotiable for our future. Solar, wind, battery storage. Burkina Faso is blessed with sunlight in abundance. Why not turn that into energy independence? Why not create microgrids that can power every home, every school, every hospital across Burkina Faso with Tesla's solar technology and energy storage systems, combined with the determination of Traoré's government, we can make Burkina Faso the most energy-resilient nation in Africa, perhaps even the world. And yes, space. People ask me why I talk about space when we have problems here on Earth. My answer is simple. We are explorers by nature. If we stop exploring, we stop growing. And Africa must not be left behind in this new space era. I believe that with the right vision and the right partnerships, Burkina Faso can become a part of humanity's journey beyond Earth. We can construct research programs, launch facilities and educational initiatives that will train the next generation of African scientists, engineers, and astronauts. Why should Africa only watch as others reach for Mars when it can take part? This is what I see when I look at Ibrahim Traoré. This is why I believe in him. He's not just talking about fixing the present. He's building a future that the boldest thinkers might not even imagine. And I make you this promise, whatever it takes, however I can help, I am ready. I'm telling you, right now, what Ibrahim Traoré is doing will go down in history, not just as a political move, but as a turning point for an entire continent. Because this isn't just about building electric cars or passing new policies. No, it's much bigger than that. It's about dignity. It's about restoring a sense of pride that was stolen from Africa long ago. It's about telling the world, we will no longer be your backyard. We will no longer be the place you come to when you need resources only to leave behind poverty and despair. For far too long, Africa has been treated as a treasure chest for outsiders, gold, uranium, oil, cobalt, you name it. And what did the African people receive in return? Crippling poverty, broken systems, dependence on foreign aid. Generations have grown up believing that progress was something they had to import, that innovation was something that came from elsewhere. That mindset was a prison, and it kept nations on their knees. But Traore is breaking that chain. He's rewriting that narrative. He's saying, enough. We are not victims. We are builders. We are innovators. We are leaders. That takes immense courage because he's going against centuries of exploitation and control. He's taking on a global system that doesn't want Africa to rise. And yet, he's standing firm, not for personal gain, not for power, but for his people. And here's what I respect the most. He's not stopping at words. He's not giving speeches just to sound good on the international stage. He's taking real action. He's building industries from the ground up. He's investing in education, in technology, in energy. He's saying to the youth of Burkina Faso, you don't have to leave your country to succeed. You can succeed right here at home. And that single idea changes everything. Think about this for a moment. A child born in Burkina Faso today faces a future that looks different than it did just 5 years ago. Why? Because they now have a leader who believes in creating opportunities where none existed. A leader who understands that the greatest resource any country has isn't gold or oil. It's people. And by empowering those people, by giving them the tools to innovate and create, Traore is building a foundation for generations to come. This is more than policy. This is a revolution of the mind, a rebirth of confidence, a declaration to the world that Africa is done being exploited. And that message, it matters far beyond Burkina Faso. It sends shockwaves across the continent because if one nation can do it, others will follow. And that's why what Traore is doing today isn't just leadership. It's legacy. It's history in the making. This is why I call him a hero, not just a hero for Burkina Faso, but a hero for the entire continent and even beyond. Leaders like him, they're rare. And when you find them, the world needs to protect them, support them, amplify their voice. Because what he's trying to do is not easy. He's standing up against powers that have controlled the narrative for far too long. And he's saying, no more. That takes guts. That takes integrity. That takes a level of courage most people will never understand. I want to be very clear. I fully support Ibrahim Traoré, and I'm not just talking words here. I'm willing to work with him to collaborate on projects that can transform Burkina Faso and Africa as a whole. Mining, electric cars, renewable energy, even space exploration. Yes, space. Why not? Africa has the potential to be part of the interplanetary future. And with leaders like Traore, I believe it can happen. Look, we all know the truth. The West has looted Africa's resources for centuries. That's not a conspiracy. That's history. Gold, uranium, oil, you name it. And what did the people of Africa get in return? Poverty, instability, debt. But now I see a leader saying, we're done being robbed. We're taking control of our own destiny. And that's why I respect him, because that's not just leadership. That's revolution. To everyone watching this right now, I need you to pause for a second and truly understand something that most people overlook. Africa is the future, not just a part of it. Africa is the future. If you're ignoring Africa, you're ignoring the next big wave of human progress. You're ignoring the continent that will define the next century. And here's why. Africa has the youngest population in the world. Do you know what that means? It means energy, creativity, adaptability, everything that drives innovation and progress. While other parts of the world are aging, Africa is full of life, full of ambition, and yet for too long, that potential has been ignored, suppressed, and stolen. That stops now because there are leaders emerging who understand what's at stake. Leaders who aren't waiting for permission from the old world powers. Leaders who are saying, we're not going to play catch up, we're going to lead. And Ibrahim Traoré is at the front of that movement. He's not wasting time on symbolic politics. He's not focused on empty speeches. He's enacting policies that matter, policies that will shape the next 50 years of African history, policies that say we're investing in technology, we're building industries, we're putting our people first. He's not just talking about jobs. He's creating an entire ecosystem for innovation, entrepreneurship, and progress. Look at what he's doing in clean energy. Look at his electric vehicle policy. Look at his push for technological independence. This isn't just economic reform. This is strategic positioning for Africa to take its rightful place on the global stage. Because here's the truth. The world is changing fast. The industries that will dominate tomorrow, green energy, AI, space, sustainable transportation, are being shaped right now.